First on Good Morning El Paso, the death toll continues to rise this morning after a devastating earthquake in Nepal. What Americans are now doing to help the rescue effort.
Guests are forced to get rooms somewhere else after a massive fire breaks out at an East Side hotel. The damage is now in the millions.
And it's your voice, your vote. Early voting begins today in El Paso County. What you need to know before you head to the polls.
Where news comes first. From the Mesilla Valley and Las Cruces to El Paso and the borderland. This is ABC7's Good Morning El Paso.
Good morning, everyone. Get those sweaters out this morning. It's going to be a chilly start to the work week here in the borderland, and yesterday should have given us a clue, right?
It really should have. This is a live look outside this morning, courtesy of our ABC7 downtown camera. Can we expect any rain like we saw yesterday?
That's the question. Welcome back to Good Morning El Paso, everyone. I'm Hillary Floren.
And I'm Stephanie Valle. It is 6:01 on your Monday morning. Hopefully starting off to be a better day for all of you than yesterday, where it was cold and windy, rainy.
Shouldn't be too hard to top, right? Let's check in with Crystal. She's got a look at our forecast.
Hi, good morning, guys. You know, we are looking at a better forecast today than yesterday as we transition from the rainy and windy weather of yesterday to a much better off forecast this week. Today, still some scattered showers moving through early this morning on our clouds and radar map. Here we see that it breaks apart right about the time it makes its way into our viewing zone. So we're just dealing with clouds in our area, including Las Cruces and El Paso. And as we move forward, just about a 10% chance of rain, all we are expecting as we move along today in El Paso or Las Cruces. A look at our temperatures out there. We're at 50 in El Paso to start out our morning. Winds are at 6 miles per hour rather, and we're looking at your relative humidity at 54%. So the winds really have died down since yesterday, and today we are looking windy, but not as windy in our afternoon. Over to Las Cruces, we're at 46 degrees, partly cloudy out there, and then for your winds, 9 miles per hour, the current wind speed outside. Coming up in just a few minutes, we're going to talk about how high gusts go later today, and we'll talk about maybe a little better off forecast as we move into the rest of your work week. That's all in just a few minutes.
Okay, looking forward to it, Crystal. And to your voice, your vote now. Early voting begins today in El Paso County, and El Pasoans will vote on city council members, school board trustees, as well as several bond proposals in the Isleta and Clint school districts. The general election is Saturday, May 9th. You can have information, or you can find information on early voting locations and hours by going to our website, KVIA.com. One thing you will see on the ballot today is raises for El Paso firefighters. That's because the city of El Paso and the fire department cannot reach an agreement on what they should receive in pay, and it is going to the voters. Good Morning El Paso's Denise Olivas is live now with more. Denise.
Good morning, Stephanie. I'm standing outside Mesita Elementary, one of the dozens of locations where residents can go and vote for early voting. And of course, we'll have more on that information on where you can go and vote early. But for now, we are talking about one of the bigger issues on the ballot that many residents still haven't decided on. We're talking about the pay for El Paso City firefighters. Well, the city says that taxpayers can't afford what firefighters are asking for. The fire union says the firefighters have sacrificed for the city and want what's fair. It all hinges on 3 points: firefighter pay, health insurance, and whether they should be fired or given a second chance if they test positive for a drug test. On last night's ABC7 Extra, Dr. Mark Sutter, the city's chief financial officer, argued that firefighters do see an increase in pay for at least 9 years. Meanwhile, Paul Thompson of the Firefighters Association maintains it doesn't make up for the pay raises that the fire department has bargained away in the past.
Back in 2008 and 2009, Joyce Wilson came to us. She asked us to defer some pay raises, which we did. And what I'll say in that regard is the economy of today is not the economy of 2008, 9, and 10.
It doesn't matter if they're, a real great firefighter or a medium firefighter. Everybody gets 5% on those steps for 9 years. So that's 9 solid years of guaranteed 5% increases every year.
So before you make your decision on whether or not you do want to support the firefighters of El Paso, you can always go to our website, KVIA.com, where you can watch past stories. You can also watch ABC 7 Extra after Good Morning El Paso. And also, if you're looking for more information on other elections, you can also take a look at past debates. We have all that posted online right now at KVIA.com. For now, we're live in West El Paso. Denise Olivas, ABC 7.
Great information. Get out and vote. Thanks, Denise. And if you'd like to meet some of the new faces running for public office, today is that big chance. The Greater Chamber of Commerce is hosting a candidate fair at 11:30 this morning. You'll be able to meet candidates for El Paso City Council, EPISD, YISD, and SISD Board of Trustees. The fair will be held at the Civic Center. On that massive motel fire on the east side. It started around 2:30 yesterday afternoon at the Motel 6 on the 1300 block of Loma Land. The fire department tells us it took nearly 7 hours to put it out. Investigators tell us hired plumbers accidentally started the fire, probably by using torches. They tried to extinguish it, but when it got out of control, they had to call 911. 25 units consisting of 74 firefighters in all responded. The fire department says guests self-evacuated before crews began to fight the blaze.
The very first step that you should do when you have a fire is call 911 first. Then if you have the extinguishers, go ahead and try, but the primary is to get out.
And we are told one guest from India who was about to move into an apartment lost everything he owns. About 30% of the property was damaged, with the estimate at $2 million. We are told that all the guests are now at the Motel 6 off of Reynolds.
And there was another fire, Hillary, this one yesterday on the west side. A house on the 5600 block of Saplinas got caught fire around noon. Fire officials tell ABC 7 the blaze damaged 60% of the home, with the estimated damage at $150,000. No one was inside at the time. If you live in Tornillo, your water is now safe to drink. El Paso County Commissioner Vince Perez tells us Tornillo residents no longer need to boil their water before drinking it. People in the farming community were without water for nearly 4 days last week when a well broke. The water utility replaced the pump and restored service on Friday. Some alarming numbers today regarding STDs in El Paso, specifically chlamydia. A new report says cases in the county far exceed statewide and national rates. Now, the study was conducted by the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation and the University of Wisconsin Population Health Institute. The study found there are 600 new cases for every 100,000 people in El Paso. The state average is 488 cases per 100,000. Chlamydia is a common sexually transmitted disease that can be easily cured, but if left untreated, it can make it difficult for a woman to get pregnant.
To the latest on the earthquake in Nepal now. More than 3,000 people are dead. Tens of thousands continue to sleep outdoors, afraid of the constant aftershocks. We go now to ABC's Susan Salmi with the very latest.
Tens of thousands across Nepal are shell-shocked and sleeping in the streets or makeshift tent cities this morning as the death toll soared past 3,000 from the earthquake that ripped across the Himalayan nation on Saturday. Kathmandu, Nepal's capital, is now virtually impassable. Rescuers and aid workers are responding from as far away as Virginia.
Bringing search capability, digging capability, the ability to get people buried who are entombed in rubble, extricated from the rubble, and handed over to qualified medical care.
On Sunday, an aftershock bigger than most earthquakes caused more buildings to collapse and more panic.
The earth is really moving now. As you can see, everyone's running through the streets.
Authorities warn the worst damage and higher casualties might be in the vulnerable mountain villages rescue workers are still struggling to reach. Beyond Kathmandu, many of Nepal's ancient temples and cultural gems are in ruins. And on Mount Everest, an urgent rescue response is underway as marooned climbers struggle to stay alive. This Illinois woman's son is among them.
The structure of the mountain has changed, so the Sherpas going up have a path laid out, but that path probably is different now.
The quake dislodged tons of snow.
The ground is shaking.
One of the climbers on Mount Everest posted this video of the moment when the earthquake hit. At least 18 people were killed, including 3 Americans, Google executive Dan Fredenberg, filmmaker Tom Taplin, and Dr. Marissa Eve Girawong. An American military plane is on the way to Nepal with tons of supplies for relief and teams of search and rescue experts. Susan Solony, ABC News, Washington.
And taking a look at traffic at 6:09, looking over in central El Paso, I-10 and Piedras. Now over on the opposite end, over on the west side, I-10 near Anthony. You could see things moving along pretty smoothly. No problems to report. Looks pretty quiet out there.
The U.S. Supreme Court is set to consider one of the biggest civil rights issues facing the country today.
A look at what could decide the future of same-sex marriage. And bacon lovers in the Sun City united for the first ever Bacon Fest. A look at what was served.
And we'll check in with Crystal Clay. She's got a look at our detailed forecast for the week ahead. Good morning.
Good morning. It was Windfest over the weekend, but do the winds die down as we move forward? And what about your weekend forecast? We'll talk about that coming up.
Thanks, Crystal. This is ABC 7, where news comes first.